do I need to fire people? I have a jewelry brand that's grown about 200% in the past year. As we scale, my team is telling me we need to hire more people, but we've gone from making a small profit to losing money as we've scaled.
Yeah.
Do I just have to lose more to make more?
This is tough. This is tough because I feel like a lot of brands coming out of the COVID era or just coming out of any high growth period is like the people try to solve it with more people. And I think that's just a common from the agency side, from the brand side. Everyone's like, I need more bodies. I can't get enough done.
Yeah, I can't get enough done. There's so many things we want to do and we can't get done. And you hear all this like conventional business wisdom that's like, you're only as good as your people. It's going to be your people that bring your brand to the next level. And I'm like, that it's just such generic advice that is like applicable to a pretty big company, but not so applicable to, I don't know what level this person's at. We've grown 200% in the past year. I'm going to guess they weren't at 100 million growing to 200.
Yeah.
So, you know, if they're at
low
2 million growing
to mid-mills. Yeah.
Yeah. If they're going 2-4, these usually really using percent, maybe they're going 2 to 6 or whatever. But like, you know, that's great. It's good growth. But if you've done that and you're not profitable, you might have overhired. You might just be overspending on ads too. You might have over invested in your growth or whatever. But I don't know. I guess maybe more generically, we don't have enough info to answer this question for this person, I don't think. But more generically, when is it like, I've overhired, I have to fire? What are your signals for that?
I think this has to be, it depends on the department, I think, first. Like if we know we need bodies in a retail standpoint, so we can like justify that. But in a marketing standpoint or a growth area, I'm probably going tool first. Like I'm probably going like, is there a tool that can do this before I hire anybody? And enough people weren't going contractor basis. Like, hey, we're going to come in for this project and we want you to be incredible, but we're going to date before we're going to get fully married and you're going to get a full-time role. I think that first off, you need to prevent the immediate, oh my gosh, I overhired.
Yeah.
Just to give yourself a little bit of coverage to start with.
Yeah. No, I'm very hesitant to hire. You kind of are too, and there's some businesses you've just had to go for it in. I think it makes you uncomfortable.
Very.
But you've lived in the discomfort maybe a little more than I have. Bart, dude, have you hired anybody?
No, but we do the tool approach too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like customer service, what kind of platform can help there, outsourcing certain things, but like we just haven't. So I can't like speak too much on it, but we just haven't hired a dad gang.
I'm sure you've seen it though. When you've been working with other brands, like when you're like, oh, you are too,
I get calls,
you're too bloated in your OPEX.
Not too long ago, I got a call from like a big brand owner that we all know. And it was kind of like, he wanted my advice on how to spread the jobs of the entire company. So like he overhired. And then it was kind of like,
can we find this person something?
Hey, what are like, I've got this person for organic social media management and I've got this person for media buying, and I've got this person for email, and I have a creative strategist over here. And I was like, well, I think one of those roles is two.
Yeah.
And it's like, what can you condense, or what can you teach that current person to also do? Not to like overload people, of course, like compensate a little more if you're going to do that. But at the same time, just calls around like how to lean out.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people do jump into these flashy, like it used to actually be used to be a flex to be like, yeah, we're at 50 people.
Yeah.
And now it's a flex to be at less people and more efficient people and use platforms and tools. So I've taken some calls that are just like, hey, I know I've overhired this person does only this. Like they're capable of a lot more. And then you as the founder could probably do more too.
First question is the one I'm going to pick, the one I said back to you first is, I think you just said a good one. What are the signals that you have overhired? I think that's a good one when you're saying, oh, this person just does that, like that's their day. Like, what else could they be doing? And if you've got one or multiple of those, you might have bloated up too much.
Yeah. Totally.
I have a really good one, I think, for e-com brands, and you might have a model for this for agencies. I don't know. I like less for most brands, definitely under 9 figures. I like 15% or less of the revenue tied up in OPEX, and that's all OPEX. So that is software, any buildings, if you have warehouse where you pick and pack, and so that would be people you've hired, and team. So 15% or less of the revenue in OPEX. That's what I like for e-com brands. Whenever I talk to somebody And this was just that came over the course of like taking a bunch of calls, however many 1,200 calls that I took for Triple Well last year. It was like, oh, the more times I get into people's financials and they've got 20% of their revenue in overhead and a lot of it's in team, those were almost always the brands that were struggling. The ones that kept it under 15 seemed to just always be the ones that were doing better. And I don't know if that was a mentality thing, like they were lean and that it was a kind of a lean time, or we're in a lean time, or if that was just, you know, what I saw or whatever. But it kind of made me develop this rule of like, I think for an e-commerce brand, you've got so much cost in advertising. You've got so much cost in product. You have to keep so much cash in this business to keep buying product. You really can't carry too much OPEX. It's not like a software company or an agency where you're really carrying a lot of OPEX. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think we have a perfect one for agencies, but that framework, it makes total sense. Like anytime we get above 18% or we get closer, there's times when you have to overhire on like a region or an initiative for sure.
And you're like, well, I really hope we grow into that. That's what you're thinking when you're making those hires. Yeah,
totally. I feel like I felt that more recently than anything with the hires that we're having, because we're not really having too many people that are like hands-on keyboards or execution based. Now it's more vision and strategy, which is hard. I think
you're not hiring for a job to be done. You're hiring for somebody to like think. You
know
manage, what I mean?
Yeah, manage things of that the people are doing.
Yeah. So, do you have any other flags for e-commerce businesses where it's like, ooh, if blank, then you might have hired too much. You might have overhired.
So I do. I think at any size, and even if I were to deploy this in,
or even agencies, I think, or software, any other kind of business.
How far away is this person from revenue generation or revenue like saving? Like if they're like 2 people away from actually generating revenue for you, more important is the person closer to the revenue. Like if you have a creative strategist that isn't really in the accounts or really helping, but the media buyer's like okay at creative strategy, I'm nervous. Like for my job, like I probably need to learn how to be more on platform so I can provide some value. Those are the areas of like, what are the adjacent roles around and how much utilization are these people being kind of tapped into?
I heard an analogy once. I don't know what you said that just made me think of this, but I heard an analogy once. Oh, how far away from revenue are they?
Yeah.
I heard an analogy once, and I'm gonna butcher this, and so maybe I just shouldn't say it, but it's a good one. They said like sales / marketing. Think of your company like a plane. Sales / marketing is the engines. Fulfillment is the body of the plane. And then I can't remember what the wings were, but the wings were something else, right? Maybe finance, or I can't remember, operations, something like that were the wings. And so they're like, so what happens if you just overhired into the engines? Well, then you'd have this like little tiny plane with a big old engine. And that's fine, I guess. But like that plane has so much more potential, right? So you're kind of overselling, what you can supply. And that plane has so much more potential. All right. So that's probably the best problem to have. If you're going to overhire in revenue generation areas is kind of what you're saying. That's what you said that made me think that. And then they said, okay, but now what happens if you go hire like operations and you stretch out those wings? Well, you need to hire somebody in the engine to do more. And then if you do all that, then you got a little tiny plane with big old wings and a big engine. Again, like you don't have a thing that really flies very smoothly. You got a thing that's got too big of wings and too big of engines. So then you're going to need to add fulfillment as well. And so I think a good framework for keeping yourself from overhiring is like, if I'm hiring this role and they do their job right, then do I need to hire another role to like meet that? Like if I hire another marketing person or another salesperson, whatever it is, and they do their job right and we have more business, do I actually also need to hire another fulfillment person or another ops person or something like that? And if that's the case and you're like, well, I can't make all those hires, then it might be like, hold for a second. Whichever hire you make has to be wherever the constraint is. You know what I mean? So if the constraint is sales, then fine. But like, if the constraint is actually fulfillment, then don't go hire the salesperson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. The prioritization is definitely need dependent.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. To this person's point, he's asked, should he fire people? Like I said, I don't know that we have enough information.
I feel like you have to though. Like if you're feeling it's your need to fire somebody, you probably should be firing.
Okay. Here's the signal. He asked, we've grown 200%, but now we're not profitable and we used to be profitable. He didn't ask, should we be spending less money? He asked, do I need to fire people? Because the people I have are saying we need even more people.
Yeah, that's
so. What he's asking is, are these people just not competent?
I think that's a great question, because if you're no longer growing and more people are here,
Yeah.
and you're actually turning them profitable, and the people are telling you that you need more people,
Yeah.
they don't want to kind of work. They don't want to put it
Or
in.
they don't know how.
True.
They don't know. They don't have the competency that,
At that
it takes to
stage.
get you to profit. Yeah. So I think potentially because he's also asking, should I just go deeper in this, hire the more people that they say? Like, do I just have to lose money to make money? If you want, man, but you also have a business that's grown 200%. You clearly have some sort of proven something that's working. You could also just make this business profitable, even if it means going backwards. Make this business profitable and then build from there.
There's no glory in growing top line.
Yeah. That's what I would do. It's
for
too
sake of
stressful to grow at a loss to me, but
Yeah, now for sure.
that's what I would do.